The 1995 Neon. Sporty, practical, and one of Chrysler Corporation's hottest selling models. During this past year, MasterTech has covered several topics relating to the Neon, including OBD2, the ABX4 anti-lock brake system, and the Neon steering and suspension update in October's New Model Highlights program. Now, before the year is out, we're going to devote one more MasterTech program to the Neon as we discuss Neon sealing. We'll discuss the design of the Neon sealing system and a few things that you should keep in mind when diagnosing wind noise or water leaks on the Neon. We'll also look at specific conditions and repairs in the A, B, and C pillar areas, in the door glass area on 4-door Neons, and a couple of other Neon sealing concerns. So let's get started with a look at how the Neon sealing system is designed. Like any sealing system, the one on the Neon has been designed to keep water out of the interior of the vehicle. But because of its frameless door glass, the Neon has special sealing concerns not found with many vehicles. For this reason, during the design of the Neon sealing system, it was necessary to pay particular attention to the fit between the door glass and the weather strip. When you look at the Neon door glass with the door open, you'll notice that the glass is fairly loose in the window channel. This allows the door glass to move into its proper position in the weather strip channel when the door is closed. Basically, what happens is, with the door open, the door glass tilts toward the center line of the vehicle. When the door is beginning to close, the door glass, because of its inward tilt, first butts up against the inboard side of the roof rail weather strip. Then, as the door is fully closed, the door glass straightens in its channel and completes the proper fit with the roof rail weather strip. So you can see the proper window adjustment is very important in stopping wind noise and water leak problems on the Neon. It's also important that you're aware of certain items which may arise as customer complaints, but which are in fact inherent to the Neon system design. First, you may face complaints about water around the perimeter of the windows, which many customers perceive as a water leak. However, it is simply condensation which develops between the roof rail weather strip and the window, usually after a rain or car wash, caused by moisture trapped in the channel of the roof rail weather strip. Another condition which may be perceived as a water leak is the result of water remaining on the scuff plate, again usually after a rain or a car wash. Water buildup will drain into the sill via the hole beneath the scuff plate. Excess water that has not drained into the sill may dump out of the vehicle when the door is opened, resulting in a customer complaint. However, the water is directed away from the interior and will not enter the passenger compartment of the vehicle. So this is an acceptable condition inherent to the design of the system. In addition, you should mention to your customers that if extra ventilation is needed while driving during rain or at high speed, they should try cracking or completely lowering the rear window. Because of the Neon's excellent aerodynamics, this will provide them with turbulence-free ventilation without the risk of water dripping on front seat occupants. Finally, there's been a number of non-repeatable wind noise and water leak complaints due to customers accidentally bumping the window crank handle. On vehicles with manual windows, if after diagnosis there are no obvious problems, be sure to check for this condition. You may also want to caution your customers that this can occur. As you well know, diagnosis of wind noise and water leaks can be extremely difficult. That's why it's important to get all the help you can from your customer as to the location of the problem. Be sure to have the service writer and customer fill out the customer feedback form if the customer is complaining of wind noise or water leaks. When you have a general idea of the area of the complaint, you can proceed with any of the diagnostic procedures discussed in the October 1993 MasterTech, wind noise and water leaks. Always be sure to perform diagnostic procedures before repairing wind noise and water leak problems, and to verify the repair once it is complete. On the Neon, wind noise and water leak diagnosis must be performed with all the doors and windows closed. In addition, it's important that the door you're evaluating is the last one closed. In some cases, you may even need to place the vehicle in the fresh air mode and turn the blower on high before you close the doors to get a better idea where the leak is coming from. Well, now that you know a little about how the neon sealing system works and you've eliminated acceptable conditions, let's take a look at some specific conditions which can cause wind noise, water leaks, or appearance problems, beginning in the A-pillar area. One area where a customer may complain of wind noise or water leaks is near the A-pillar. There are several things you can look for in this area to fix the wind noise or water leak problem. If the complaint is both wind noise and water leaks, you should check that the side view mirror stanchion is properly positioned underneath the beak of the weather strip. If it's not, you'll need to readjust the stanchion, either fore-aft or inboard-outboard. You can do this using both, which can be accessed by removing the door trim panel, repositioning the water shield, removing the side view mirror trim panel, and removing the side view mirror. To adjust the fore-aft position of the stanchion, loosen the two bolts holding the stanchion to the outer door panel. Then loosen the jack screw jam nut and the bolt holding the stanchion to the inner door panel. Adjust the stanchion so that it fits properly under the beak of the weather strip. To adjust the stanchion inboard-outboard, loosen the 3 stanchion attachment screws and loosen the jam nut using a snap-on flare nut socket. Then use the stanchion jack screw to position the stanchion in or out. If a customer is complaining only of wind noise in the A-pillar area, a couple of conditions may be causing the problem. First, pull the door weather strip back and try adding a strip of half-inch foam tape, about 10 inches long, in the area between the seal and the door. This will help stop a number of wind noise problems in the area. Another possible cause of wind noise in the A-pillar area occurs with the doors closed when the stanchion channel does not properly contact the window. This condition is typically found at 1 or more spots on the outside of the window, usually about 1 to 3 inches from the tip of the stanchion. If you notice any spots which are not contacting the window properly, use a pair of pliers, protected by a cloth or tape, to adjust the channel so it is uniform all the way down the window. When a wind noise is heard at the side view mirror stanchion, you can try inserting a piece of foam into the mirror to stop the noise. Also try filling the hole in the front face of the door panel below the stanchion with butyl dum-dum. In addition, a wind noise problem may be caused in the A-pillar area if the door is over flush to the fender. If this is the case, you need to adjust the front of the door inboard using the door side bolts in order to fix the wind noise problem. And remember, the fender and rear door position must also be taken into consideration when adjusting the front door. When a water leak in the A-pillar area is the complaint, one thing you should check is that the bulge at the spot where the window changes shape is at the proper position on the stanchion. It should be right at the edge of the stanchion. If the bulge is not in the proper position, you may need to adjust the stanchion to the proper position with the body. If the stanchion to body position is good, you may need to adjust the door glass into position. This adjustment will be discussed later. In addition, the plug in the roof rail weather strip should be centered with the bulge of the glass. If it's not lined up properly, you'll need to remove the weather strip from the retainer in that portion of the roof rail and cut a 2-inch slit in the back side of the weather strip. Then, with your finger, move the plug up or down until it is centered with the bulge of the glass. Finally, if after several glass and stanchion adjustments and centering the weather strip plug, the problem is still not corrected, try removing the plug from the weather strip, wrapping it in foam tape, and reinstalling it centered with the glass bulge. This should correct the problem. Next, we're going to move to the B-pillar area of the vehicle. But first, try this review question. The plug in the roof rail weather strip, A, should be to the right of the bulge in the glass. B, can be moved into position by cutting a slit in the back side of the weather strip. or C, can be moved into position by cutting a slit in the front of the weather strip? The answer is B. To move the plug in the roof rail weather strip into position, be sure to cut a slit in the back side of the weather strip. In the B-pillar area, the problems are slightly different than those that occur at the A-pillar. In the B-pillar area, not only can there be wind noise and water leak problems, but improper sealing may also cause some appearance problems. In addition, problems in the B-pillar area may occur at the front door, at the rear door, or both, so they may be a bit more difficult to track down than those in the A-pillar area. As a result of one such condition, a customer may complain of wind noise or water leaks at either the front or rear window. You may also find an appearance problem, usually a pucker near the B-pillar applique, due to this condition. The cause may be a weather strip that is too thin and won't seal properly. To correct the problem, you'll need to first remove the B-pillar applique. Use a trim stick to pry the bottom part of the applique away from the B-pillar. Then disengage the bottom and top push-in fasteners. To avoid damaging the applique, pull it away from the body slowly to allow the adhesive tape to give. Once the applique has been removed, use hand soap to lubricate a 1/2 by 3/4 by 3-inch foam filler. Then remove the roof rail weather strip and slide the foam filler under the thin area of the weather strip. In some cases, it may be easier to simply replace the weather strip with a new one. Another condition which may cause wind noise, water leaks, and appearance problems is the result of the upper corners of the roof rail weather strip sliding out of position at the B-pillar. In order to correct this problem, first remove the applique. Then adjust the weather strip to the proper position and loosely install the applique to verify positioning. Remove the applique and drive a number 8 self-drilling galvanized screw and washer up through the weather strip and into the roof rail. The screw should be no more than 5/8 of an inch long. Be sure to position the screw at a slight angle when installing it so as not to cause damage to the vehicle's roof. Another sealing concern occurs when the lip of the roof rail weather strip flips forward near the B-pillar. This condition can cause both the wind noise problem and a general appearance problem. If the lip of the weather strip has not set into the forward position, you can correct the problem by applying a silicone lubricant to the weather strip. Then close the door and let the weather strip set in this position for approximately 12 hours. However, if the weather strip has set into the forward position, it will need to be replaced. Applique installation is another area of wind noise and appearance concern. Therefore, it's very important to reinstall it properly after a repair. And if the applique is the cause of customer complaints, you'll need to remove and reinstall it properly. First, clean all of the adhesive residue from the back of the applique and the body. And install new body side molding adhesive tape. Next, place the applique in position on the B-pillar. Place the top push-in retainer in its hole, but do not seat it. Seat the bottom push-in retainer first. Then push against the applique to set the adhesive at the same time you're sliding the applique up for a proper fit against the roof panel. Once the applique is in the proper position, seat the top push-in retainer. The rear door outer belt weather strip may also roll under and cause an appearance problem on the neon. In order to fix this problem, simply pull the lip back into its proper position. This door should not be used for about 48 hours in order to allow the weather strip to set into position. The front door inner belt line may be another place where customers experience wind noise and water leak problems. If a problem occurs in this area, check that the door weather strip is positioned up against the door and inner belt weather strip. In some cases, the inner belt weather strip may be too far back, forcing the door weather strip out of position. If this condition occurs, push the inner belt weather strip forward on the flange, using a rubber mallet and a wooden block to protect the body. Also, in the B-pillar area, you may need to reinforce the body-molded seals with foam tape. This may be done at either the front or back of the B-pillar. To correct the problem, begin by removing the fastener using a tack puller. Peel the seal upward and apply foam tape directly to the body below the weather strip retainer. Several layers of foam tape may have to be applied to stop wind noise. The fore and aft positioning of the front and rear door glass can also cause wind noise and water leak concerns in the area of the B-pillar. In fact, a wind noise that may appear to be coming exclusively from the rear door may actually be caused by improper positioning of the front door glass. For proper fore-aft positioning, the front and rear door glass should be 11 to 13 millimeters from the B-pillar applique. If the gaps are wider or smaller, the door glass may need adjustment. Also keep an eye out for V-gaps or A-gaps to the B-pillar. If either of these are present, the door glass will need an adjustment. Adjustment will be discussed in a later section. Finally, the B-pillar weather strip retainer can be moved outboard to eliminate wind noise or water leaks. To do this, remove the weather strip at the B-pillar. Loosen the screws on the retainer and push the retainer outboard. Then tighten the screws and reinstall the weather strip. In the next section, we'll move back to the C-pillar to discuss a few problems in this area. But first, a review question. When installing the B-pillar applique, you should A. Install the bottom retainer first, then seat the top retainer. B. Install the top retainer first, then seat the bottom retainer. Or C. Seat the top retainer first, then seat the bottom retainer. The answer is B. When installing the B-pillar applique, you should first place the top push-in retainer in its hole, but don't seat it. Seat the bottom retainer first. Then, once the applique is in the proper position, seat the top retainer. In the upper C-pillar area, one area of concern is glass positioning. This can cause wind noise and water leaks as well as appearance problems. If the weather strip beak is being pinched, as it is here, you'll need to adjust the door glass forward and or down. If there is a gap between the weather strip and glass, as shown here, the adjustment should be rearward and or up. Again, the glass adjustment procedures will be discussed later in this program. With wind noise and water leak problems in the middle of the C-pillar area, you should also check that the rear door weather strip is in the proper position against the inner belt weather strip and glass. If this is not the case, you'll need to remove the door trim panel. Then remove the inner belt weather strip and move it forward. Then install the weather strip onto the flange so it is securely in position. Once the door weather strip is properly positioned to the inner belt weather strip and glass, you may need to trim a small amount off the front of the inner belt weather strip so it does not hang too far off the front of the flange. Another fix for wind noise and water leak problems in the C-pillar area is to place a high-density foam stuffer inside the bottom of the roof rail weather strip. To do this, pull the weather strip out of the retainer and peel the foam away. Use hand soap to lubricate the stuffer. Then slide it inside the weather strip up to approximately ½ inch above the belt line. This should create a bulge in the weather strip, which will help to close off any seal leaks. If only water leaks are the complaint, there are a number of things you might try to fix the problem. First, remove the trim panel. Then reposition the rear door weather strip and place tape over the large hole stamped in the sheet metal toward the rear of the door. In addition, try adding a piece of foam tape to the end of the door weather strip. On some vehicles, you'll find a piece of foam tape already installed from the factory. In this case, add a new piece of tape next to the existing piece. Be sure that none of the tape is visible once the weather strip is reinstalled. Finally, in the lower C-pillar area, you may get some wind noise only conditions. To alleviate this problem, try adding a shim between the door weather strip and the door sheet metal. Foam tape, 1/2 inch wide and 1/4 inch thick, approximately 12 inches long, should sufficiently increase the weather strip contact to the body. Next, we're going to discuss a couple of door glass problems and door glass adjustment. But first, take a stab at this review question. If the roof rail weather strip beak is being pinched by the rear door glass, you should adjust the door glass A, up and rearward, B, down and forward, or C, down and rearward. The correct answer is B. For a pinched weather strip beak, adjust the rear door glass down and forward as necessary. As promised earlier, in this section we'll discuss front and rear door glass adjustment. But first we need to mention a couple of other problems related to the door glass. First, a water leak may be found between the interior trim piece and the roof rail weather strip because of a weak spot or gap in the weather strip retainer foam. In order to correct this problem, the weather strip retainer must be replaced. In addition, the door glass weather strip may untuck from its proper position and cause an appearance problem. To correct this condition, you'll need to remove the B-pillar applique, as described previously. Then remove the roof rail weather strip and the weather strip retainer. 19 screws and 2 push-in fasteners hold the retainer in position. Then remove the trim welt in the area of the retainer. Next, apply 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive foam tape along the length of the retainer on the inboard side lower edge. Remove the release liner from the foam tape and reinstall the retainer to the vehicle. Next, reinstall the weather strip to the retainer. There are 2 lock legs on the weather strip. When installing the weather strip, be sure to install the inboard lock leg before installing the outboard one. If the weather strip is not installed properly, it will appear to be wavy along the roof rail. Remove and reinstall it properly. When installed correctly, the weather strip will slide up and down on the B-pillar easily. Once the weather strip is properly installed, replace the trim welt. This will help keep the weather strip positioned properly. Also, you may have customers who complain not of wind noise, but of a creaking noise around the windows. This creak is coming from the door glass to roof rail weather strip seal. To eliminate the creak, the weather strip must be replaced using part number 4658-960 or 4658-961. Door glass adjustment may be needed for a variety of reasons on the Neon. We've mentioned improper spacing between the applique and glass, A gaps and V gaps, glass pinching the weather strip beak, and of course there are others. Whatever the reason for adjustment, you'll first need to evaluate the proper direction in which to move the glass. Remember, the glass can be adjusted fore and aft, up and down, or inboard and outboard at the top edge. In most cases, the fore, aft, and up-down adjustments are most effective in eliminating water leaks. Inboard-outboard adjustments must be made with care, as adverse conditions, such as high closing and cranking efforts, can occur. For example, in a situation where the glass is closing on top of the weather strip beak, you would want to move the top of the door glass inward. To do this, first remove the door trim panel and the water shield to gain access to the 2 jack screws at the bottom of the door. Use a snap-on flare nut socket to loosen the jack screw jam nuts. Then, with an Allen wrench, turn the jack screws to achieve proper positioning of the glass. To move the top of the glass inward, rotate the jack screws counterclockwise. To bring the glass outward, rotate clockwise. When using the jack screw, be sure to reach into the access hole to verify that there are threads left on the screws. The screws should be no more than flush with the inner bushing. This type of adjustment may take a couple of tries. Once the door glass has been fit properly, you'll need to reevaluate the position of the side view mirror stanchion to the glass. If necessary, adjust the stanchion inboard, outboard, or fore-aft, following the procedures shown earlier. Some conditions will necessitate up or down adjustment of the glass, either by adjusting the glass or the door. For example, if you have adjusted the door glass inboard as far as it will go, and the fit to the weather strip is still unsatisfactory, you may need to adjust the door. Or if the door glass seems to fit properly in the weather strip channel, but is too high or low, you can perform up and down door glass adjustment. Up and down adjustment is done using the up-stop eccentric. Loosen the up-stop eccentric jam nut. Then use the window crank to move the door glass into the proper position. The door glass should be moved a very minimal amount, a few millimeters at the most. Once the door glass is in position, use an Allen wrench to turn the up-stop eccentric until there is resistance. This will hold the door glass in the proper place. Roll the window down a few turns and back up to confirm up-stop adjustment. Then review the fit of the glass with the weather strip. Be sure all other doors are closed and the windows are up. If the door glass is still not fitting properly, there is another adjustment that may help with up-down positioning. By loosening the two window regulator to door panel bolts in slotted holes in the front of the door, you can pivot the door glass in the channel. Then readjust up or down until the glass is positioned properly. Again, this type of adjustment may take several tries. There are 3 adjustment points for fore and aft adjustment on the Neon. 1 on the front window regulator lift plate, and 2 on the rear. The front and one of the rear adjustment bolts are accessible with the door glass in the full up position. Loosen these first. Then roll the window partway down to loosen the 3rd bolt. Now you can move the glass in the appropriate direction. Then tighten the rearmost adjustment bolt to 45 to 50 inch-pounds. Roll up the window and tighten the other adjustment bolts. Be careful not to tighten any glass adjustment bolts past 50 inch-pounds, or you may break the door glass. Once again, be sure to review the stanchion fit once the glass is properly positioned. On the rear door, you'll find an up-stop eccentric and a single jack screw. 2 screws hold the glass to the window regulator. Adjustments are the same as on the front door. In our last section for this month, we're going to look at a few final Neon sealing concerns. But before we go, try this one last review question. In order to adjust the top of the door glass inward, you should A. Turn the jack screw counterclockwise. B. Turn the up-stop eccentric counterclockwise. Or C. Turn the jack screw clockwise. The answer is A. To move the top of the door glass inward, turn the jack screw in the counterclockwise direction. Well, before we conclude for the month, we need to discuss a couple additional sealing concerns in areas of the Neon other than the door and door glass. First, Technical Service Bulletin 234894 covers water leaks found in the passenger compartment under the instrument panel as a result of body leaks. A second TSB, number 241694, covers water leaks in the passenger compartment as a result of an AC condensate drainage problem. With either problem, water may leak onto the passenger compartment front floor area, especially during left-hand turns. With body leaks, you might also find some water in the glove box. When a customer complains of these conditions, refer to the TSBs for proper repairs. In addition, you should keep an eye out for leaks in and around the trunk area. The tail lamp area is one place where leaks may be found on the Neon. In this case, you can either repair the gasket or, if that doesn't solve the problem, replace the tail lamp assembly. There are also several body seals in the rear quarter panel area that, if not sealed properly, may allow mud and dirt to splash inside the trunk. If mud and dirt are found in an area of the trunk, you should use the water test to check for sealer skips in the seams and joints, especially around the body vent, at the sheet metal around the fuel filler tube, in the rear wheel well, and at the sheet metal behind the tail light. A butyl or silicone sealer can be used to seal any body leaks you may find. Finally, you may also find a leak along the deck lid weather strip carrier. A leak here will allow water in the carrier to drip into the trunk after a rain. If you notice a leak in this area, lift the weather strip and apply a butyl sealer to stop the leak. Well, that about covers it for this month. We've taken a look at the unique neon sealing system and covered some of the problems and fixes in different areas of the neon. So the next time you're faced with a problem related to neon sealing, look in the areas we've described and try the fixes covered in this program. Good luck, and we'll see you next month on MasterTech.